They'll never warn you. They'll never say it out loud, but it happens to people like you every day. At first, they admire your kindness. You're the one who stays late, who listens, who forgives. You're the one who bends, breaks, and still comes back smiling. You give even when no one asks, and they call you a good person. But behind those words, something darker grows. One day you look around and realize you're tired. Not just physically, but something deeper. You've been running on empty. You've been giving pieces of yourself away and getting nothing in return. The praise fades, the admiration turns to expectation. Suddenly, your kindness isn't a virtue, it's a tool. They use it, push it, twist it, and you start to feel invisible. This is how the world breaks people like you. Not with violence, but with silence, with slow, invisible sacrifice. But here's what they never tell you. The world doesn't reward the selfless. It feeds on them. Sacrifice in excess is not noble, it's suicidal. You think your generosity is building bridges, but those bridges become your chains. You become the person everyone relies on, but no one respects. They call you dependable while draining you dry. Let me ask you something. When was the last time someone sacrificed for you? When did someone go out of their way to protect your energy, your time, your peace? The truth hurts, and this one will cut deep. They won't save you, not because they're evil, but because they've learned the game better than you have. And the game favors the cold. It rewards those who say no without apology, who walk away without guilt, who place their own survival above all else. Machiavelli never wrote about self-sacrifice. He wrote about power. And here is the first rule of power. Never drain yourself for people who would watch you drown. So here's the question. How long will you keep giving until there's nothing left of you? They'll never tell you this, because if they did, the game would be over. The truth is, the world survives on your sacrifice. It feeds off your willingness to put yourself second. It thrives when you say, "It's okay, I'll handle it," and dies a little when you say no. But Machiavelli would tell you to refuse. Sacrifice is not selfishness. It is self-preservation. Look around you. Who really benefits when you overextend yourself for others, when you break your back to lift someone else? Do they remember, or do they demand more? Modern morality has sold you a dream that you're noble when you sacrifice, that you're stronger when you give without hesitation. But that dream is a trap, a golden leash, and it's time to tear it off. Because here's the harsh reality. When you keep giving, they keep taking. And once you become known as the sacrificial lamb, you become everyone's favorite target. You're not being respected, you're being used. Machiavelli believed that power is reserved for those who understand the game, not for those who bleed for others. In his view, unnecessary generosity weakens the ruler. Why? Because it creates dependence in others and exhaustion in yourself. Eventually, you have nothing left, not for them, and certainly not for you. The man who sacrifices too much is not admired. He is taken for granted. And when he finally collapses, he is replaced without sympathy, without delay. That is the brutal law of power. Usefulness is temporary. Sacrifice is forgettable. So stop wearing your pain like a badge of honor. No one's handing out awards for self-destruction. Set boundaries so firm they tremble to cross them. Say no with the weight of a king. Deny with silence. Walk away without guilt. And when they accuse you of being cold, selfish, or ruthless, smile because that's the sound of the leash snapping. Sacrifice is not what makes you good. Control is what keeps you powerful. And power, real, unshakable power, comes when you stop asking for permission to exist and start commanding the room by your presence alone. Don't explain. Don't justify. Don't bleed for those who would never bleed for you. You don't owe anyone your time, your peace, your energy, or your ambition. They owe you respect. And if they can't offer that, give them distance. Be sharp. Be firm. Be remembered not for how much you gave, but for how little you allowed yourself to be taken. Because in the end, it's not the martyr they remember. It's the master. And masters don't sacrifice. They command. You've been trained like a loyal dog to sit when commanded, to fetch when summoned, and to give when it hurts. Society calls it kindness, but I'll call it what it really is: obedience training. From the day you were born, you were handed a leash, conditioned to believe that sacrificing for others is the mark of honor, decency, and virtue. That your worth is tied to how much pain you can absorb for the benefit of others. But let me ask you this: who benefits from your sacrifice? You give your time, your energy, your loyalty. You offer help before it's asked. You go out of your way to please, to soften blows, to rescue the undeserving. And in return, silence, ingratitude, disrespect. You were taught that good people are loved, that martyrs are remembered. But in the real world, the world I live in, those who bleed for others are forgotten the fastest. Because goodness is currency, and the moment you hand it out for free, people stop seeing it as valuable. They don't cherish you. They expect you. You become the one they call when no one else picks up, the one they drain when their own life falls apart, the one they lean on while they spit on your name behind your back. You're not respected. You're just available. And availability kills mystery. It kills power. It kills value. You think you're being generous, but you're actually devaluing yourself in the open market of human behavior. People don't fear the selfless. They exploit them. People don't love the sacrificing. They consume them. The ruthless understand this. They never give more than necessary. Their generosity is a tactic, not a habit, a tool for manipulation, not a moral code. And the irony? People admire them. They call them strong, independent, commanding. Why? Because they give on their terms. They make people earn their presence. They walk away when disrespected. They don't explain. They don't beg. They don't justify their worth. But you've been playing a losing game. You say yes when you mean no. You give when your soul is screaming to hold back. You carry burdens that don't belong to you, and you wonder why you're exhausted, why you're bitter, why no one gives you the same in return. Here's the answer. They see you as less. Because in this world, your value is not determined by how much you give. It's determined by how little you tolerate. Machiavelli warned us centuries ago. A prince who is not himself shrewd cannot be shrewdly advised. Goodness must know when to hide behind cunning. Translation: if you don't play the game wisely, your goodness becomes your noose. Let me make it clear. Sacrifice is noble only when it's rare, only when it's earned, only when it's tied to a purpose higher than appeasing people who don't respect you. The world doesn't reward you for being nice. It rewards you for being strategic. You think people will come around, that if you just keep giving, they'll wake up and finally see your worth. They won't. People don't change because of your sacrifice. They change because of boundaries. The moment you draw a hard line, the moment you say this far, no further, you become something terrifying. You become respected because no one respects the man who bleeds at every request. They respect the man who chooses when and where to strike. They fear the man who walks away without a word, who gives only when it serves a greater plan. You must become that man. Stop sacrificing your peace to keep others comfortable. Stop playing the savior in a world that crucifies its own. Stop offering kindness like a free sample on a street corner. Guard your goodness like a throne. Let no one sit on it unless they've proven their worth. Because once you stop handing yourself out like charity, something incredible happens. They start chasing. They start wondering. They start respecting. Why? Because you've done what most never will. You made yourself rare. You've made yourself valuable. So you withdrawn a little. You've said no once or twice, and you're expecting applause. Don't fool yourself. They won't clap for your awakening. They'll test it. The moment you stop sacrificing, you become a threat, a disruption to the system they built around your submission. Because the world isn't kind to the kind-hearted. It uses them. And when the kindness dries up, they don't thank you. They label you selfish, arrogant, cold. But that's the first sign you're getting stronger. Let them choke on their accusations. It means you're no longer their puppet. You see, mercy is beautiful, but only when you hold the blade. When you're the one who can destroy and chooses not to. Otherwise, your mercy is just weakness in costume, and weakness invites predators. You've been taught that forgiveness is strength, that turning the other cheek is noble. But who taught you that? The people benefiting from your silence. The ones draining you while calling you good. I'll let you in on a Machiavellian truth. It is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. Why? Because fear is stable. Love is fleeting. Love asks you to give endlessly. Fear demands respect with nothing but presence. When people fear losing your favor, your time, your attention, they adjust. They calculate. They obey. But when you lead only with sacrifice, you teach them the opposite, that they can push and you'll bend, that they can break you and you'll thank them for the opportunity. This is how kingdoms fall. This is how rulers become servants. Mercy must be your final move, not your first instinct. It must be delivered from a position of power, not desperation. Because when you offer sacrifice without leverage, they see it for what it truly is, begging. And the powerful don't beg. They set terms. So the next time you feel that urge to help, to save, to give beyond your limits, pause. Ask yourself, is this mercy or self-erasure? Will this elevate me or bury me further into someone else's expectations? Because I'll tell you this, every drop of unnecessary sacrifice chips away at your throne. One moment you're being kind, the next you're being erased. And do you think they'll save you? Do you think when the tables turn, your sacrifices will be remembered? They won't. People have short memories and long appetites. They will move on. They will find another giver, another servant, another soul too afraid to say no. And where will that leave you? Alone, bitter, empty, blaming the world for what you allowed. You were never powerless. You were just too merciful. But now you know better. From now on, your mercy must come with conditions. No more unconditional loyalty. No more bleeding for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. No more sacrificing your sanity to keep peace in a room full of chaos. Let them feel the sting of your silence. Let them wonder what happened to the version of you that said yes to everything. Let them miss that version because that version is dead. The new you doesn't give from weakness. You give from control. You give when it serves your strategy. You give when it fortifies your position, not when it weakens it. And most importantly, you know when not to give. This is not cruelty. This is calculated rule. Every act of restraint is a declaration. I am not here to serve. I am here to command. Mercy, when used with power, is unforgettable. But mercy without strength is a death sentence. So choose your moments. Sharpen your judgment. Be ruthless in protecting your energy. And when you offer your kindness, make sure it feels like a gift, not a guarantee. Stop sacrificing for those who wouldn't flinch to sacrifice you. You're not their fuel. You're the fire. They've convinced you that your kindness is your greatest virtue. They tell you it's your light, your humanity, your legacy. But what if I told you your kindness is the exact reason they never respect you? Because they spend it like currency and you just keep printing more while your value collapses. That's the dark irony of sacrifice. The more you give, the less you're worth. You believe that by constantly helping others, you'll earn loyalty, gratitude, maybe even love. But people don't value what's always available. They don't treasure what they didn't have to fight for. They use it. You become the bridge they walk over to reach their goals, never looking back to see if you've collapsed under their weight. And when you finally break, when you finally whisper, I can't anymore, they don't thank you. They abandon you. Because your value was never in who you were. It was in what you could give them. And once that giving ends, so does their interest. This is the truth no one tells you. You were taught to be a savior, a martyr, someone who bends until they break. And when you break, they call you bitter, ungrateful, changed. They'll say, you used to be so kind. What they mean is, you used to let me take everything without resistance. This is why you must stop. You must stop offering your soul on a silver platter to people who wouldn't offer you a glass of water if you were drowning. Sacrifice has its place, but only when it serves your rise. Machiavelli knew this. He warned rulers, never be generous with what weakens your power. Never give in ways that encourage dependence or invite disrespect. Because once the people expect your sacrifice, it's no longer seen as generosity. It's seen as duty. They feel entitled to your time, your energy, your help. And the moment you say no, you're not just resisting. They see it as betrayal. That's how deeply they've built their comfort on your suffering. You've taught them to believe that your pain is their privilege. Now you must unteach them. You must break the pattern and remind them your kindness was a choice, not an obligation. Don't do it with a speech. Do it with silence, with distance, with refusal. Let your absence be the shock that wakes them. Let them realize that you are no longer a servant dressed as a friend, a sibling, a partner, a team player. You are a force, and a force does not give endlessly. A force does not sacrifice blindly. A force does not crumble for comfort. You are not cold for setting boundaries. You are not cruel for protecting your time. You are not selfish for putting yourself first. You are simply done being currency. From now on, your kindness will be rare, strategic, earned. Let them earn it. Let them prove their worth. Let them invest in you. Because the more they invest, the more they'll value you. And the less you sacrifice, the more power you keep. You see, the world doesn't reward those who sacrifice the most. It rewards those who know when to sacrifice and when to stop. Stop giving to those who only know how to take. Stop trying to prove your worth through pain. Stop bleeding for people who never intended to heal you. Your kindness is powerful, but only when it's backed by strength. And your strength begins the moment you realize you don't owe them anything. Not your peace, not your time, not your soul. So burn the script they gave you, the one that said, good people give without limits. Because good has become a cage. And now you walk out of it. No guilt, no apology, just power.